Welcome to the Skill Locked profile, where every Skyblock year I spin a wheel and can only level one of the 5 major Skyblock skills, with the eventual goal of maxing all 5 of them. Last time we rolled fishing, spending over 500 million coins to max out the skill. The 11th Skyblock year begins shortly, with a new major update on the horizon, but before we get started, we need to spin the wheel that decides our fate. And the answer, finally, it's not mining, it's foraging, baby! My goal for this Skyblock year is to remax the foraging skill, which has a new level cap of 57 with the release of the Taurus Canyon update. In order to do so, I need to earn the 3 level cap increases. The first comes from the Helix collection, which is the new tree on the island, and is extremely quick to earn. It will take me less than an hour to earn all the logs and unlock this. The other 2 level cap increases are part of Miria's shop, the Starland sister of the island. The Starland sisters host contests each day, rewarding points for doing activities all over the island, and they give coupons based on the bracket you received. The 2 level cap increases are at milestone 4 and 5 respectively, requiring 3,000 total coupons to be earned. Even if I got legendary in every single contest with 3 contests an hour, that would take 33 hours to complete this goal. However, on my prior fishing week, I had an idea. With the update already out, I could fish on the island and earn contest completions that I could then save for the foraging year. Due to this strategic saving, I had 28 contests saved up, all of which were uncommon at the least. At the uncommon bracket, you earn 15 coupons per contest, and I had 28 of them, giving me 420 coupons total, saving me at least 4.5 hours on my goal. And with that, we were ready to get started. Wow. Okay, that is a lot of stuff already. We got a level out of that, and we're about to hit level 3 for the Miria milestone. So that's pretty solid. We got a bit of progress there towards the final tier already. In terms of upgrades and things we can pick up, I do want to pick up the personal best here for sure. Definitely want the Taurus Talisman as well as the Sloth Pet. This is going to be a solid pet to keep around. We're also going to grab the Small Sloth Claw. And we're also going to pick up a few woodpecker shards, although not a ton of them, maybe just 6 for now. We'll grab the Miria's power buffs, and I think we're ready to go. So now we have our sloth on, and we're also able to get a bunch of upgrades here in the shop. And I think what I want to pick up first and foremost, Daily Wishes is going to be very, very useful for me. It's going to get us bonus whispers, which we definitely do need at the moment. As you can see, that is now maxed. And I also want to pick up a little bit of half empty, not a lot of it, and a lot of these Starland Supreme buffs. This gives us more points during the contests. We're going to need a lot of points if we want to do well in these contests. And now we have to try out. And as you can see, we have 407 sweep at the moment, which isn't really a lot, to be honest. But it's a start, and of course, we are going to have to get a lot of upgrades. We have to get upgrades for our Figstone Splitter. We're going to have to upgrade our armor, as it's not very good at the moment. Eventually, there'll be other things that we can get as well, so I suppose, for the moment, it's not the worst thing in the world. There are also going to be a lot of creatures that we have to deal with. This is a dry bark, and as you can see, if I reel it in, it gives us some dry bark shards, and there are going to be a lot of attribute shards that we are going to pick up during this week. Keep in mind, I am allowed to hunt as per usual. There is no restriction on hunting. The skill, even with it having an island now, is not in a state where I could do it for this challenge. The XP rates are really low. I can't control the XP gain, so we're kind of just going to work as per usual. Also, we get some honeycomb collection there that unlocks us the honeycomb ring. I don't really think I'm going to interact with the honey system too much. I'm mostly focused on the foraging. Since we were fishing for a while, we actually already have quite a few helix. I was able to supercraft a bit more. And because of that, we already have enough if we are to buy the flex bones here, which were just made easier to get. We have enough now to upgrade our axe. We can get the helix chopper right here. So that is going to be a very significant upgrade for us. As you can see, it goes from 52.5 sweep, 97.5 foraging fortune to 70 sweep and 116 foraging fortune. So that is huge. If you're enjoying Skyblock Skill Locked, make sure to like and subscribe and use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order to support the channel. Also, make sure you stay tuned until the end, as we will be spinning the wheel that decides the next cycle. Without any further ado, though, let's get back to Skyblock Skill Locked. We're also going to pick up the Firefox Shard. The reason why we want to grab this, even if it is 400k coins, is that getting it maxed out early gives us 100 Helix Fortune. After experiencing what this is like, I will never take my Jade Dragon for granted again on my main profile, man. This is crazy, the difference. It is just so much slower, which is fine, that's how it's going to be in the early part of the week. We'll figure it out, and there's a lot of upgrades we can pick up. Notably, there's also some upgrades we're going to get for our axe, like Karma and Petalfall. Those will eventually drop for us, but for now, we are incredibly slow. And we have gotten the third tier of Miria's milestones, so we're able to pick up some new stuff in the shop. First, we got the Medium Sloth Claw, as well as a few Petalfall books. Want to get that to at least tier 3, so I will pick up 4 of those books. And if I grab out my Taurus Talisman, I can upgrade that into the Taurus Ring, giving me a bit more fortune. With it still being early in the week, I was looking for anything that could improve my progress, and the Ember Shard was definitely on the list. These were super cheap and gave me 10% bonus Heart of the Forest XP, which was absolutely needed as I was working on getting tier 8, the final tier of the tree. I also spent some time upgrading my Sloth Pet to Rare Rarity. It was a pretty solid upgrade, unlocking the second perk. Around this time, I sold my Fig Gear back to the auction house in order to pick up Groovy Fig Gear. This was mostly for the Reforge. It was just going to make my gear just a bit better. On top of that, I upgraded also to my first piece of Helix armor, the Helix Boots. This gave me an additional 10 sweep, as well as an additional 15 foraging fortune, both of which were sorely needed. And as you can see, that pushes my first hit over 500 sweep, which is crazy. That feels good. It's already starting to feel a little bit better chopping these down. Getting closer to 11 logs now rather than closer to 10 or 9. And the experience is just going to get better and better throughout the week. We're only at 1/4 of the full set. I have to level up Tad Gang, get Vulture eventually. That's normally like a 40 mil purchase, or at least it is right now. I don't think I'm going to spend most of that money right now. I want to save up if possible, but that should get me all the way up to probably around 800, 900 sweep. And at that point, I think the experience will be pretty great, especially if we get, a bunch of Petalfall books and we have some solid upgrades also coming in from the Heart of the Forest. Once we get back up to tier 8, we can get both Forest Speed and Forest Strength. We can also make ourselves a Lumberjack Talisman, as well as maybe a Lumberjack Ring in a little while. Actually, we can make that immediately. Awesome. There we go. That gives us a reduction in the cooldown for throwing my foraging axe by 10%. So off of that tree, we got a collection milestone for the Helix log that gets us to level 9, giving us 150k foraging XP and a foraging level cap, which we immediately got. There's foraging 55, and we get a Helix tree gift milestone as well. So it turns out the 2 upgrade stones for the Sloth are actually not too expensive, so we are going to buy those. It'll be around 6 million coins, but realistically this is going to be our best pet. We might as well have it at Legendary, and I believe at Legendary it gets a perk related to the contests anyway, which we're going to need to do a lot of, so we might as well upgrade. Yeah, 14% more points towards Starling contests, and we get bonus sweep and foraging fortune. That is awesome. Wrapping up day 1, there was one more upgrade I wanted to pick up, and that was the Vulture Shard. These were shards that you could pick up from Miria's shop once you hit milestone tier 4. Currently, we were at tier 3, but I did want to buy a few of these, as they would give me more sweep on the Helix trees, which is the only tree on the Taurus Canyon. I needed 48 of these in total, and I bought my first few now. And here we are on day 2 of Skill Locked Foraging Week number 2. Today is going to look pretty similar to the first day, just doing a lot of contests. But aside from that, the main goal today is just to get as much done as possible. Get Petalfall 5 maybe as a solid goal. Get a good amount of sweep. Another 100 would be great. And also increase my foraging fortune, because right now it's at 960, which is frankly pretty bad. I think I can get easily over to like 1200. There are quite a few attributes I would need to pick up in order to make that happen, but I think that's totally feasible given the circumstances. I was actually having quite a bit of fun on this island, and due to that fun, I was making more progress than I thought. I got a ton of Helixes together in order to upgrade the rest of my gear, and I had a lot of outstanding buy and sell orders. I was buying up some Bambloom shards to get me some more foraging fortune, and I was selling a bunch of ethereal vines as well as ink sacs from prior weeks. On top of this, I went over to the first island of Galatea to turn on the Starborn Temple underneath the island. I needed to get pressure resistance gear in order to swim in the water there, but after the Starborn Temple was turned on, that gave me some additional foraging fortune, which was very nice. And after a little while longer, we pretty much had the full set of Helix armor. Alright, and with that last Helixus, now we can get the Helix leggings. There we go. 73 foraging fortune on these. We have a pretty solid setup. Obviously, it could be better, if we had the gemstones on it. That's something I can look into as time goes along. But I am happy for now. That is going to boost up our sweep a little bit. As you can see, 619, 585 more generally, and we're well over 1100 foraging fortune. And the speed that we chop down these trees has also gone up as our sweep has gone up. So definitely a much better experience right now than it was, just even an hour or two ago. We're also going to be coming over to Maxim pretty often. We want to pick up a bunch of sweep upgrades if we can, as you can see, and then we can apply that through the anvil to stuff like, for example, our fig stone, or rather our helix chopper. As you can see, that gives us quite a bit of an upgrade. So after another upgrade, we have 126 foraging fortune on our helix chopper. Looks like someone is buying up a ton of ink. There we go, 15 million coins worth. Pretty much instantly. That is awesome. And from selling a bunch of stuff, we're up to about 40 mil in the purse. I think I'm going to try to stay around this amount, although frankly I probably will spend a little bit throughout the week on other various upgrades and things of that nature. There is just a lot to buy at the moment, especially in terms of attributes. There's just so much. And now we can upgrade to the Lumberjack artifact. As you can see, that gives us a 15% reduction in the cooldown for throwing our foraging axe. I've also picked up the Accretion Ring. This speeds up my pocket black holes, and you get it by getting a bunch of Ruby Veil Shroom, as you can see. But if I wanted to get the artifact, as you can see, it's currently 630 million coins. You need a lot of Veil Shroom bunches, which are super expensive, as you can see. There's the first Divine bracket that we've gotten. That is awesome. 15,000 overall points, and we still have a minute and a half to go. And I believe with this, we should get over the 10% sweep limit for the personal best. So that is awesome as well. Yeah, as you can see, there is the Divine bracket. Boom, there we go. Up to 545 through the milestone. And what the other one claimed, up to 580. All right, we're going to sell our first batch of 8 Helixus for about 4.4 mil. That is going to start leading to some profits for us. We don't really have a lot of other stuff we can make with Helixus, other than picking up maybe a few more boosters, but we could just trade in the money for those, or we could just save up a smaller amount for those. So we have gotten our Sloth pet up to level 100. I think I'm going to take off the Foraging XP boost, and then I'm going to sell this for a huge profit. So as we can see, the lowest max level Sloth is 48 mil, so we could take our own, and we have swapped out the held item. We could put this up, I believe, for around 47.7 mil is what I'm going to go with. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy up another level 1 Sloth for 20 mil. Actually, it might be this one right here. There we go, for 20 million coins. Now we have this. Then we can put this back on. We can show only our pet. We can put the Foraging XP boost back on it. And then we can go back over to the Taurus Canyon. And there's our first Karma book. That is a rare drop from one of the tree gifts here. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to it or if I'm going to sell it. Actually, I'm kidding. I'm absolutely going to put that on my axe. Boom, there we go. Karma 1 now on our Helix Chopper. That is going to give us just a few more bonus tree gifts occasionally. I think it's a 1% rate at tier 1, and it goes up to 5% at tier 5. We had to lower the price of the Sloth quite a bit, but as you can see, we did sell it for about 40 mil. That puts us up to 76 million coins in the purse. Finally, at a decent amount of money. That does feel very nice. We're also getting closer to milestone level 4. We're about 700 out of 1,000 total points needed, and we definitely will get it today, so that feels pretty good. There's another Helix milestone that is 1k total trees chopped. Boom, there we go. 3 more sweep, 75k foraging XP, and 4 skyblock XP. We're about to drop 50 million coins on a bunch of vulture shards. This might not be a good expenditure, but frankly, I just want the shards, and we'll probably make our money back anyway from chopping down all of these trees. We can turn all of our Agatha tickets into more vulture shards that we can then sell. So I'm not really too concerned about the long-term prospects for this. Plus, we get bonus sweep, which right now is incredibly useful. After claiming a few batches of vulture shards, our sweep went up a ton, from the low 600s up to the mid 700s. You may be wondering about the Critter Safari, and honestly, I'm not really that interested in running it at the moment. I don't believe there are any shards there that I can't just pick up that are related to foraging or that would help me in any meaningful way. And in terms of the belt, I also don't think it's worthwhile to spend my time upgrading it, when instead I could be here on the Taurus Canyon and continue to level up these milestones. So with that last contest completed, if we pick up this legendary, as you can see, we're in milestone 4 now. We get a few things unlocked. First, we get a Winding Ivy. We can get plus 10 sweep on our pets. There's also the Vulture Shard right here that we can pick up if we wanted to. And there's a few other things we can grab, including the Foraging level cap, which we are going to grab. That gives us Foraging 56, only 1 level to go. We do need the final milestone for that other level, but we will be able to make progress on it. It's only day 2, so I figure this will be relatively quick. I am very excited about this. We'll also grab another Miria's Power that gives us a bit more sweep. Super solid. Decided to pick up a bunch of Petalfall books for more Miria contest tickets, and with that I'm able to upgrade to Petalfall 5 on my Helix Chopper. Boom, there we go. That is a nice upgrade. There is something incredibly important we need to get at Rosemary. As you can see, we have 22,000 Forest Essence, so we need to get 2% bonus stats on our axe. Let's go. That feels very nice. We'll also pick up the other upgrades here. We might as well. There we go. So everything in the shop should be fully maxed out. That feels great. And we can pick up some hunting wisdom boosters as well if we want to. I'll probably grab a few of those. Alright, that was extremely expensive, but now we have the full set properly leveled up with the hunting wisdom booster on it. That is super nice. I also decided to enchant my gear up, so now it's a little bit better off. And before I inevitably forget, I'm going to swap over from the Sea Creature Chance over to the Magic Find Enrichment. That should give me a little bit more Magic Find to drop absolutely nothing with. Wrapping up day number 2, the last thing I did was max out my sloth pet. And as you can see, it was in a level 100. We were going to keep it. We weren't going to sell it and buy back another one. I needed the Starland contest buffs if I wanted to max out Miria's milestones effectively. Now let's move on to day number 3. Hello and welcome to day number 3 of yet another Foraging Skill Locked year. I am really excited about today. I think we're going to be getting a lot of progress done. I don't know if we're going to hit the final milestone today, but at the very least I want to make a lot of progress. Also, last night we hit the final tier of the Taurus Beacon, as you can see. So now we get a lot of fortune from this thing, which is really cool. I've got to say, happy to finally have it maxed out. That gets us a total of, let's see, 64 Helix fortune right now. And we're still leveling up our Beacon Might Shard, of course, so we're going to get even more, power out of that buff as time goes along. Now, let's get to foraging. So if I'm not mistaken here, if I click on this contest, yeah, I get Heart of the Forest tier 8, and that is really interesting as I get some bonus tokens of the forest. I think I'm going to fully reset my tree because I need to get both forest strength and forest speed and also timber. So let's do that real quick. So this is the tree I'm now rocking. I have forest strength, I have forest speed, I have timber as well. This gives me a chance to cut the entire tree when cutting it down. I also get to keep stuff like Tree Whisperer as well as Foraging Madness. I have Homing Axe now, and I keep the Starling Contest buff, and this is the bottom of the tree. Pretty much everything else at the bottom is the exact same, but this should be focused on getting me as many trees chopped down as possible and as good stats as I can possibly get. And as you can see, yeah, my sweep did in fact go up pretty substantially, up to the high 700s now, which is really solid, and that'll continue to go up over time. I also need to swap out my accessory powers in a moment. I think I need to focus more on speed as well as strength. In order to improve force speed and force strength, I would need to get both of those stats increased on the Taurus Canyon. And the best way to do so were a few attribute upgrades as well as upgrades to my axes. First and foremost, I got the Foxtrot Shard as well as the Obsidian Defender Shard, both of which focused on speed. I also got some Hot Potato Books for my axe, giving me a little bit more strength. And we're about to get over 20,000 points in this contest, which means we reached the hidden special bracket. That is awesome. That is the last one. Feels really, really good. And there's a personal best, also 151,000 total logs collected, which I know isn't really that good, but there we go. We get a legendary from before, and with that we're at 485, and with this special, we're up to 530, so that is a huge amount of progress. I don't think I'm going to go for specials every single time, but whenever I can get them, that is awesome. With a bunch of my Myria coupons, I am able to max out the Helix Sharpening Shard, giving me 150 sweep on these trees, up to 815, it seems like, more generally, and 850 on a first hit. That feels super nice. Well, I have been foraging for quite a while, and I think it's time we wrap up for the night and move on to the next day. As you can see, we're at 1,040 progress out of 1,500. I'm excited to get this done. I'll be back tomorrow to grind a lot more. So here we are on day number 4 of Skill Locked. As you can see, we're up to 1,200 out of 1,500 progress on the Myria's milestones. We're gonna get it done likely today, if I had to guess. I will be out of town for a little bit of the day, but I should have more than enough time to get this finished. And there's a pretty big milestone. That is Helix Tree Milestone 7. 2,500 tree gifts collected. We get 3 bonus sweep, 150k foraging XP, and 4 skyblock XP. Something pretty weird on the Taurus Canyon is that if you come over to this fairy soul at the edge of the island, you can find this NPC Owen, and if you speak to him, he talks to you effectively about the Matrix for a while. You're able to grab the soul pretty much whenever you want, but it's still a really strange interaction to have something like this in the game. I highly recommend it. I'm also going to sell a bit of my Helixis here. This is not even all of it, but I want some of this money in order to buy up some Mancores as well as some Figstone. The reason why is I want to actually get a bunch of these booster upgrades over here. And they are pretty expensive. They cost 1 Mancore, 1 Figstone, and 1 Helixis each. So I'm going to need a total of 16, I believe. Because I want to get all that I would need for both my equipment and my armor pieces. And I need 2 of the upgrades. I need the sweep upgrades and I need the foraging fortune ones. We have 8 uncommon sweep boosters and 8 uncommon foraging fortune boosters. So now we can take off our gear and then we can go into the anvil and we can start applying stuff. So there we go. As you can see, we have a ton of bonus sweep now, a little bit more foraging fortune on our gear. That is very nice. We go up to a total of 1260 foraging fortune and 697 base sweep, not including the bonus that I get from the vulture shard. Yeah, that goes up to 895. We're almost at 900. That is awesome. We just got another karma book. These are super rare at the moment, so I'm going to apply that to my Helix shopper, and now we have karma 2 on it, which is really nice. That is crazy. There's another karma book. I'm at not a lot of tree gifts, and I've gotten 3 of these already. I guess I'm going to hold on to this one in case I get a 4th. That feels way over odds in terms of, what you would normally expect. I think by like 2,500 tree gifts, you should be only at maybe like 1 of those books. 3 is super lucky. And with this contest, once it fully completes in about 7 minutes, we should have just enough points to get to milestone 5. That feels awesome, and in the amount of time that we've played, we have been making a lot of progress. As you can see, only 24 hours total on the canyon, and that will be milestone 5. That is crazy. And with that contest now completed, if we pick this up, this special bracket, boom, there we go, maximum milestone in Myria's shop. That means we're able to pick up the final foraging level cap. After some checking, we do have enough Myria's prizes in order to pick that up, so now We're about to do it, and there we go. Foraging 57. The skill is once again maxed, and now it is once again unlocked, and should be unlocked for the rest of the duration of this profile. That feels really good. Yet another fully maxed out skill. With foraging now remaxed, we could actually take advantage of a bit of a rest day before we would go in on the critter safari. We did max out the Taurus artifact, which means that we completed the Taurus talisman line. And on top of that, we were able to save up a ton of Miria coupons that we could use in the future if we ever wanted to make some money. I was really happy to get this goal done so quickly, but the day itself, I did not have a lot more productive time. I was mostly just doing more of the same, so let's move on to day number 5. And welcome to day number 5 of Skill Lock. Before we move into more of the hunting and safari stuff, I wanted to go over what my setup was. As you can see, I still have a very basic setup. Stuff like my equipment is still unreforged, it's not upgraded. I'm using full groovy helix as well. I have a few gemstones on this, actually just one gemstone out of the total 8. And I do have all of the uncommon sweep and foraging fortune boosters at the very least. And in terms of my axe, as you can see, I have Petalfall 5, Karma 2. That felt really nice to get. I'm going to be real here. As well, in terms of my Heart of the Forest, this is what it looks like. As you can see, I pretty much just went up the middle the entire way, went across the entire top, and then did everything on this left side, basically. A lot of the perks here are super solid, as you can see. Stuff like, for example, Forest Speed, very much necessary. Homing Axe, Tree Whisperer, Foraging Madness, both of those being, really solid in the mid game of foraging. Highly recommend them. And then on top of that, in terms of the attributes, I'll go over to the foraging section. Didn't really max out anything here, but got a lot of upgrades where I could. As you can see, fully maxed out on Hummingbird, maxed out on Vulture. I have Woodpecker as well as Hawk. Both of those are super important. So as part of this update, there was not just one island introduced. There were two. The second island is the Critter Safari, which is a hunting-focused experience. Now, hunting has also gotten a level 50 alongside this update, but the XP rates, frankly, are not good, and one of the best ways to level the skill right now is just to fuse shards together. So for now, it will remain off the wheel. If that changes, I might reconsider. But regardless, we have a lot of Safari tickets because the main way you get access to the Critter Safari is by doing activities on the Taurus Canyon and getting your contests done. And we have done a lot of contests, as you can see. We also picked up our Safari Belt. This is the only thing we can take in with us to the Critter Safari, and we level it up by doing stuff in the new location. So we'll be here for a lot of the day. And here we are in the Critter Safari. We already have a bit of a group, so we're going to be hanging out here for the next little while. I'm going to try to unlock everything in the Critter decks first. That's like the first step, effectively. But aside from that, this is where I'm going to be pretty much the whole day. There we go, we just did the Bell Secret, and because of that, we have maxed out the Rain Bug Shard, giving us 1% bonus chance of finding dyes. And as you can see from the first run, we got 108,000 hunting XP, 1100 Safari Essence, and 108 shards. Look at all of those. If I were to claim all of them right now, which I will do, as you can see, 58 Skyblock XP off of that, and a ton of different boosts. So as part of this update, there are also milestones for getting a certain amount of critters on the Critter Safari, and they upgrade your Safari Belt, so we'll be working on this throughout the day. There's another clean 81 Skyblock XP from attributes. And now we have maxed out the entire Critter Dex, as we can see, so we can also get the Sparkling Critter Dex if we want to. I don't think I'm going to be going for any of these Sparkling mobs. These are way harder to get, of course, but it's something I can go for if I wanted to. And another 63 Skyblock XP and another level out of that. Alright, so now we have over 10,000 Safari Essence, and we can pick up Critter Master. This gives us a Masterful Critter Capsule, which will always catch the critter it's used on. Alright, so we have wrapped up our session of the Safari, and we are not super far in our milestones. As you can see, we have our Safari Belt leveled up a little bit, but I think I'm going to wrap up right around here. I'll probably keep doing the Safari milestones every once in a while and just work on it. And I got to keep working on my Safari Essence shop, of course, but overall, I think it was a super productive week. It didn't take as long to max out the skill as I thought, but now it's everyone's favorite time of the video, Let's spin the wheel that decides our fate. So here we are once again at the wheel, and now we just have mining and combat on the wheel. I'm going to shuffle, although there really isn't a purpose in doing so. And now, let's see what we're going to get for the next week. And the answer is finally, after this long, a mining week. I'll see you then. Thank you for watching another episode of Skyblock Skill Locked. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe and use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order. And I'll see you next time on Skyblock Skill Locked.